Louise with louisemckayart, and welcome to my channel. I'm glad you're here, and I am getting ready to do another one of these little serving boards. I call these like a charcuterie board, and I get these from Big Lots, and I always get them when there's like a 40% off coupon. So yeah, so I'm going to make 2 paint skins, and now, so you know, this is a silicone mat I bought from Walmart, and I cut it up 4 ways, and that's about the right size I need to make a paint skin that's going to fit on both ends of that charcuterie board. So I'm going to do a bloom like normal. I know I get a lot of questions about a lot of different things that I think I cover in videos every once in a while, so I'm going to try to cover a lot of stuff here. So yeah, Walmart silicone mat, you can get it off Amazon, you can find it all over the place. It's a baking section. So here's my multi-pro. Where's my label? Oh, here we go. It's hard to read. Multi-pro 47-3110. This is the pillow and a bloom technique. The pillow is the thickest of your 3 components of a bloom. And I look for about a 4-second trace. So if you look at how this is pouring out, the line that's left is called the trace. And I look for it to be about a 4-second trace. It's got to be thicker than the other paints. Because what happens is in the bloom, what you want is the pillow to hold the composition up. The pillow is covered with the paints that are lighter in viscosity. They're thinner. So the thinner is going to stay on top. It's going to be like the paint has little floaties on it, like little floaties in the pool. So the water's heavy, and then you got your little floaties up here with the paints, and that's my crazy analogy for today. Because I always have some weird analogy. So yeah, I'm just spinning this out to stretch out the pillow a little bit. So most of my work will be done for me before I blow out the composition after I'm stretching it. All right, colors. Like I mentioned, these have got a little bit thinner, maybe not quite, maybe it's a little bit thick, but you don't. I'm probably proving myself wrong. This is actually a little bit thick, but the last one came out really good, so I'm not too worried. But let me get a little bit of spritz of water. I always keep a little bottle of water handy in case I need to thin something down. Now, this paint has been sitting around for a few weeks, so, you know, your paints tend to get thick after a while. They thicken up a little bit. But now that I put the water in there, I've got to stir it in, and now I'm going to generate some bubbles, air bubbles because of it, so I'll end up having to pop bubbles here. And also, by the way, if you look in my description, you'll find a lot of different things, information, like this spinner I'm on. I get it off Amazon. I have a link to it in the description box. So yeah, if you have questions and I don't answer your question in the video, check the description. You may find some information there that might be helpful to you. But I've been getting a lot of questions, and it's honestly, I'll be honest with you, it's getting hard to keep up with things. I don't want to discourage asking questions because that's how everybody learns. But I'm getting a lot of questions. And a lot of questions are answered either watching the video or in the description. This is TLP's Benevolence. This is that TLP that was issued for the Hurricane Helene relief auction. I was also going to say, I put a lot of information out in the videos. So here's a suggestion. Before you watch a video, especially if you're newer, have a notepad by your side so you can make notes of things. And you can always pause the video too. You can pause and go in reverse and get information back. So don't feel like you have to just let it run. So if you're new to YouTube, you may not know that. This is Golden's Iridescent Silver. Just straight up. Somebody was asking me, why don't you use silver more? Well, I do use silver. And it's probably why I'm using it right now, because I want to show that, yeah, I do use silver. This is Golden's Iridescent Bronze. And if you've been watching me, you'll know I am a Golden fan. Love the Golden acrylics. And somebody even asked, where do you find your paint? Oh, yeah. Michael's. Jerry's Artorama. Cheap Joe's. Joanne Fabrics even. And when I say the golden paints, I'm talking about the fluid acrylics. This is what I use primarily. So that was the bronze. Now this is my Payne's Gray combination. Love this color. This is a combination of golden and Arteza. I'll show you in a second. It's a beautiful blue. Golden and Arteza. The golden brings the blue aspect to it, and the Arteza just brings this beautiful gray. So it's kind of a mixture of the two. And I'm finding that this benevolence and the Payne's Gray are a sweet combination with each other. Just beautiful. Okay, so that's that. Those are my paints. Cell activator. I'm still using my Australian Floetrol cell activator, still from class. So you guys that have been watching me from the Fluidart Boutique when you took my class in DC, this is still that cell activator. September, October, November. Over 3 months old. It still works. Maybe not 100% as good as it used to be, but it still works. You'll see. Watch. And when I put the cell activator down, you want to get as close to as possible. You don't want to drop it in from up here. We're not going for a height competition. We're going for accuracy, dropping it close and in. And you should start seeing a little halo. Oxide black. Drop it in. Blow it out. Here we go. So I'm going to cover my usual overview of the blowout, and I blow straight down into that cell activator to get it to form as much of a perfect circle as possible, where there's a little divot in the middle where I blew and a ridge on the edges. Then I aim my blow at the ridges at the edge and blow the cell activator out over the paints and the paints out over the pillow until I get it fully blown out in all directions. If you want to see a very detailed video about how to do the blow, I call it the art of the blow. It's video 419. I'll link it above. It shows all the different nuances about the blow that I could share in one simple video. I'm going to put a little extra pillow in a couple spots because I see I'm already a little light in some directions. And then we're going to spin this out. Give it a nice gentle spin. Hopefully this thing doesn't fall off. Actually, why am I using this one? I'm going to swap this out. There we go. Coast is clear. Let's give it a ride. The tendency on the Lazy Susan, and by the way, just so you know, my Lazy Susan, which is in the description, I put my little Noosa cup on top, which is where I usually lay my coasters and things. For this application, it's not the best idea. And I have a video on that, I'll link it above, of how you prevent flying coasters, which is, that solution is great. Not for this though, because this piece of wood, MDF, on this silicone mat, tends to want to slip around. All right, let's give it another spin. I want to get this thing to spread out. Because what I'm doing here is I'm making it for this charcuterie board, which is this, which is 24 inches long, and it's about 6 inches across here. So I'm looking for about 7, 8 inches across and about 5 or 6 inches deep to go into the end of that. Okay, let's keep going. This has got to spread out some more. And I have my tape measure here so I can measure it as we go. So I'm about 6 inches. So I'm about 6 and 6. So let's put a little more pillow down because I don't want the composition to run over the top of itself. If I didn't put any pillow down and I spun, what will happen is the areas where it's going to fall off the pillow, this will roll over itself. It'll kind of roll, and you'll lose your nice definition at the end there. I'm going to take a minute and break up this edge here. So I want it to spread more. So you can see the edge where there's a little resistance there. I'm breaking up that resistance. It's breaking up that edge so it'll flow better. I know it sounds crazy, but it really does help your composition spread. Spin time. I'm pretty happy with this one. It's a lot more colorful than the last one. So I'm going to make 2 more of these, and I'll make 2 charcuterie boards at the same time. And what I'll be doing is trying to get one to match this one and trying to get one to match the other lighter skinned one. I always have a tendency to make something in one of my pieces is always an albino. If I'm making a set, one of them is always lighter than the others. But I don't stress out over having perfectly matching sets. So like if I'm making coasters, you want to have something that's a little bit different, especially if you're going to have people over and they're going to be putting their stuff down on a coaster. And by the way, with my coasters and all of my functional art, I use KS resin. I have a discount code for 10% off in the description if you want to go take a look. I swear by this stuff. I love KS resin. And when you buy something through me, you get your 10% off, and I get 5% toward future purchases that I get. So if you want to support me more than just watching a video, that is a really, really nice way. Because I go through a lot of resin, and I really can use a couple extra bonuses here and there. All right, so we're at 7 and 6. So that's probably good. That's probably good. And it's got nice shape all the way around, so I'll have to decide what I'm going to do with this when I get ready to lay it back on the charcuterie board. All right, we're going to call this done. All right, here we are. Hopefully it dries nicely. I'll be back for the next process. So it's 4 days later, and I'm just showing you here how I remove the paint skins from the silicone mat, and it's that simple. Just pick up an edge and peel it off. That simple. I'm going to be back now to show you the cutout. So I'm going on fast forward here because you don't need to see all of this at real time. But all I'm doing is doing paper dolls here. I'm cutting out the bloom like I used to cut out paper dolls when I was 4 or 5 years old as a kid. And all I'm doing is going around the edge to get the general shape that I'm going to go for. And then as I lay it on the charcuterie board, I'm going to fine tune how I have this cut out to make sure I get all the good, juicy, meaty pieces and eliminate all of the not so great pieces. And people have asked me, why don't you bloom on the board itself? And I've done that before, and I prefer this much better because, in my opinion, I get a much more pretty and defined bloom this way, and I have control over the shape of it. So I'm going to work on cutting out the next one, and I'll be back to show you how I'm going to lay this out on the board. So like I said, I lay it out to get it to face the right way, to get the best out of the bloom. And then I just start mixing and matching and imagining how the others are going to work as well. And then I will get to the next phase in a second. Hi everyone, I'm back. And all I'm doing right now is I'm going to apply these paint skins, now that I've cut them to the size I'm looking at, to this charcuterie board. So I've already since stained this. I've stained it with the special walnut here, the top and bottom. And here's another thing. If you do get these from Big Lots, which is where I get these little boards from, make sure you're applying the skin to the right side, because there's a distinct bottom, which is this side, where the screw goes in and the nut secures to that little lip that's in the bottom there. And the top is clear. It's open, just clear like this. You don't want to secure it to the wrong side because you'll never get your handle on. So with that, let me just go ahead and get started. So I'm going to use my matte varnish, and I'm only going to do one because the same concept applies. And I'll probably go on fast forward here. Clear matte. So all I do for one of these, I line it up to where I think it's going to look best. You have it overlay one side a little bit, here and here. For ease of application, I'm going to cheat it to one side. So yeah, let me go ahead and get the brush. Just get a little bit of the varnish on there. Just going to apply it to the whole piece. Apply it to the back side of this. Doesn't have to be pretty, you just have to get it covered. I'm gonna lay it down, and then when you lay it down, you want to go fairly quickly because it's going to start to secure pretty fast. So everyone, I want to show you this on 4 times the speed. It's pretty evident what's happening here, and what's important is that you push the varnish out from the center to try to get all of it out to the sides and clean it up before it dries. And then the parts that are overhanging one side or another, you want to make sure to fold them down and hold them in place for at least a minute or so. But don't stress out over this, because if it doesn't adhere after the first go around, you can always come back and give it another dose of varnish and hold it down again. But yeah, that's all I do for this part here until it's fully secure. Where it doesn't secure, I'll come back and get it fully later. But that's essentially it. I'm going to do that on all 4 of these, and then we'll be back to resin this, hopefully either later today or tomorrow. So prior to this, I've always used just wood cutting board oil that's food grade, but this time I wanted to try this wood butter that is made with beeswax. I thought that was kind of intriguing. I want to see what the difference is in the results. So in a couple hours, I'll come back and remove it with a paper towel, and we'll see what we get. Also, for those that wonder why I don't resin all this, it's simple. It's just a lot more expensive to resin 24 inches versus about 10. Also, I like the way the grain of the wood is, so I like to show that off. Plus, the resin pops a lot more on the ends when you just have the ends done versus the whole board. And seeing how this is a food grade additive, I think it's pretty good this way. So everyone, that's a wrap. Here they are after the wood butter has been removed, and these little buttons I have in the bottom are little furniture protectors. You can find them on anywhere, look them up on Amazon. And here are the final resin results with up close. I am really happy once again with how these turned out, and I hope you enjoyed this creation and this tutorial as well. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, hitting the bell and all. You'll get all my latest art tutorials. At the end, I will have a link to other charcuterie boards. So if you're interested in seeing more of these or wood trays, just click on the playlist that I have attached at the end. And remember to take a peek in my description if you want more details and some links to other products. Also, I'm starting to close in on 25,000 subscribers. Thank you to everybody, and I will definitely be doing a giveaway. So that's all for now, everybody. Take care. Till next time.